What's going on, guys? Quick video. I know earlier I made a video about Marvel versus Capcom fighting collection, and on the way from work, I started to think a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still buying that collection. That collection is going to be absolutely awesome. It's probably the way I'm going to play when I want to play people online. I mean, it's just no other way around it. But outside of Marvel superheroes and X-Men Children of the Atom, I have the rest of the collection. I don't have the Punisher, obviously, but the Versus series. I love this series. This series is probably one of the best series that in all of gaming, especially in the fighting world, anyway. But nevertheless, I have these games. I mean, you see, this is my shadow. Sorry, it's my hand, but I have all these games, and these two games here on the Saturn, these games are amazing. And the reason why I'm showing this because even with that collection coming out, it's gonna be hard for me to put these two games down. It's gonna be hard for me to put any of these four games down. Even though I also have the original Xbox version. Now, this one here, I may not play as much because I like playing this Dreamcast one a little bit more. I do. Now, with the actual collection, I'm still going to support it. I'm going to buy all of them. And like when I mean all of them, I'm going to be playing, I'm going to be buying the PS4, buy the Switch, I'm buying it on PC. I'm going to be doing all of that. Absolutely. I'm still going to buy them, but I don't know if I'm going to retire these games. I think I'm still going to play them at least from, a single player standpoint. I mean, I do have friends that I play with from time to time with these games, but mostly it just be me. But here's the reason why. The collection is going to be a collection full of arcade versions of the game. Now, don't get me wrong. Arcade versions of the game are absolutely amazing. And these ports, especially these two, are basically arcade ports, but they do have a caveat, which I'll talk about in a second. But there's some charm about the consoleization of these four games. Even the Xbox one that is up there, the Xbox version that I have up there is a special charm about them. And it's one of the things I've always wanted to have growing up. I did a video about Super Turbo, and I've been on a quest of finding a home console version that actually works. And I did a whole video about it. I'll probably put it up in the cards or whatever, or I'll probably put the link down in the description so you can check it out. But I feel the same way with these because I wanted a home console version of these. And even though that the collection is going to be a home console version, those are ROMs of the arcade. So I will still play them. But it's just something about these. Now, when it comes to these two games, you have to be crazy like me. I'm crazy to do this when you want to play on the Sega Saturn, even on the Dreamcast. Hell, nowadays, even on the original Xbox. There's a lot you have to go through to play these games on the Sega Saturn. First and foremost, you have to have a Sega Saturn. Second, you really don't want to play this game with actual Sega Saturn controller. I mean, it can be done because the Sega Saturn controller is a 6-button controller and it's good for these type of games. But you will want to play with the arcade stick. Now, I did a video about this arcade stick here. I do have the other one as well. Let me see if I can get it. It's under here. There we go. Here's the other arcade stick for the American version. I did a video about both of these. And I have the link down in the description for this as well. But you would want to play those games with one of these two. I played the game with this one. I played X-Men vs. Street Fighter with this recently. This arcade stick is absolutely amazing. This one is no slouch either, but yeah. So, with that being said, those are the first two things you need. First, you need the games. Well, three things. You need the games, which are fairly expensive. The price may go down on them now since the collection's coming out, because these have never been released since, they've been released here. So, this game is basically, you have to buy these games. Then you need the Saturn. Then you need the arcade stick. There's something else you need with this as well. You need a 4 megabyte card to put into the Saturn to play. Now, you don't need this particular megabyte cart. You can also get an action replay. So for me, I am willing to go through all of this to play these two games in this fashion. So I'm a little crazy, but nevertheless, to be honest, in my opinion, it's all worth it. I will continue to do it, even though I'm going to be buying the collection. I'm going to buy the collection, and no doubt. Now, when it comes to these two games, these games are pretty much arcade perfect as well. There are some games there's some things that may be a little bit different. I know this is still considered the definitive version over the Xbox and PS2 version, especially the PS2 version. PS2 version is really wonky in its own right, but the Dreamcast version is actually pretty much made from the Naomi arcade board. So you're good there. I think this is still CPS2, but nevertheless, I could be wrong. It could be Naomi as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. But even with these two, you can play these games with a Dreamcast controller. God bless you if you do it, because that is a hell of a way to play these games. If you want to play that, you got to use this. The Dreamcast controller. Now, arcade stick. Now, these games are very expensive now. These games, these games, both of these could run over $100. In some cases, this could be over $200. That's another reason why I'm so glad that this collection is coming out, because people who do not want to pay for all of this can play these games. Even this one is going up in price, and hopefully all of them may go down in price because of the collection, but I don't know. But I've just been thinking, guys, like, even though that the collection's coming out, can I abandon these games? And to be quite honest, even though all the stuff I got to go through to play these, I probably will still play these casually. And I'm definitely going to be playing with everyone online on the other versions. Will I play the Switch version? I'm going to be quite honest. I don't know if I could play those games with Joy-Cons, and I do not have I just don't have the patience or I just don't have the time to buy a Switch arcade stick. I'm just not going to lie. And it's hard to say when I got all of this stuff here, but I don't want to buy the arcade stick for one or two games. Even though I know what people are going to say, there's a lot of shoot 'em ups on it. The Capcom collection is on there as well. There's a lot of stuff on the Switch you can play with arcade stick, and I get it, but I look at the Switch as for two things: a portable console and a console I play with my son. I don't want to play these fighting games competitively, but I will buy them on the Switch just to support this great collection that's coming out. I would definitely support it, so I will be buying it. It probably won't be opened ever, but I'm going to buy it because this is going to be a phenomenal thing. I don't think you guys understand, even though, X-Men, Children of Atom, The Punisher, Marvel superheroes, those games are coming out along with this collection. To be quite honest, for me, it's about these 4 games right here. And these 4 games right here basically made me fall in love with the arcade scene. Don't get me wrong, Super Turbo was there, Street Fighter 3 was there, Street Fighter Alpha 2, those games were awesome, even the Killer Instincts and the Mortal Kombats. But even with all those games that came out, there was nothing like this. This is basically my childhood all wrapped into one when it comes to X-Men, Marvel superheroes, and Capcom characters all coming into one to play with them in one game at 4 different times. Even with Marvel 3 and Marvel Infinite, those are great, but these 4 games were the games. And I think this is another reason why I cannot let this go. I cannot let this go. I don't know. I'll probably feel crazy having these games sit on the shelves, even though the collection is coming out. And like I said, I will be playing that collection. But it's just some type of charm, and there's some real attachment to these OG games that I remember the first time when I saw X-Men versus Street Fighter in the arcades, and I knew that with Akuma you could do the Raging Demon off one level super. I thought that was amazing. When I saw Marvel superheroes and I, saw the fact that you could play with not play with, but you fought against Cyber Akuma. I thought that was absolutely awesome. Not only that, I just thought that the game was really, in my opinion, I thought it was more refined than X-Men vs. Street Fighter, even though X-Men vs. Street Fighter is probably the better game. I get it. Marvel vs. Capcom 1 was the game when I thought that it was just all taken to another level. And this is one of the games that was on marquee at my arcade, and I fell in love with the game as well. I did not think about, Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter anymore. Marvel vs. Capcom was the game. And then you talk about Marvel 2. I can go on a whole nother video about this game. I don't think people realize that the collection of the collection that's coming out is really all about Marvel 2. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is a cultural game that has been wanted by many players, many gamers, even some non-gamers for the past 24 years. Seriously, when people moved on to the Xbox 360 and this game was kind of forgot about for the first 3 or 4 years of the 360 PS3 lifetime, and then it came out in 2008, people were so happy, and then all of a sudden it got delisted, and it was delisted like in 2011 or 2013, somewhere between, I can't remember, but it's been over 10 years it was delisted. And the only way to play these games, you had to go and buy this particular game from a third-party store, eBay, or whatever. And the price of this particular game was absolutely, ridiculous. Now, don't get me wrong. These two games over here was just as bad, but it was no worse than these two games. Now, I have the Japanese version because the Dreamcast version I had, believe it or not, the American Dreamcast version I had was traded off. And I traded off for the PS2 version. Big mistake. Don't have the PS2 version anymore for obvious reasons. But I'm an original Xbox collector, so I definitely got this one. And I recently got this back. And I got it for a really good price. The Japanese version does have its caveats, but I don't want to go down that road. I mean, you know what it is. But this is what the collection is all about. It's all about this game, in my opinion. Marvel's Capcom 2. That's for my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't take nothing away from these other games, but everybody's going to be on Marvel 2, I promise you. Everybody's going to be on that game, and the rest of these games, they're going to get some burn too. I think this is going to be a fantastic collection, and I'm going to be on it, but these games aren't going to be sitting on the shelf. I'm going to be playing these 4 games until the wheels fall off for these particular consoles because I love them. So y'all let me know what you think. I know I rambled a bit. Y'all think I'm crazy? Do you think I should let these go? Should I go and just jump on the collection and forget about these? Or should I continue to play them? Because I will, So that's just how I feel about that. Y'all let me know. I'm going to get up out of here. I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.